Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, today is the fifth and final show of the day, and we have none other than Raw Food Romance's Lissa Maris, and she's going to be making blue wraps. Blue, yep, we talked about them on the last show with Elspeth Feldman. I think the secret ingredient is spirulina. I don't know much about it or how it tastes, but I know it looks really, really pretty. Please welcome Lissa to the show with her Gastronomic Galaxy Cosmic Deep Blue raw vegan wraps. And you can get the recipe for this and all the other hand salads in this week's, available only about, I think 16, 18 more out. I don't know. I don't do math good, but it's still tomorrow. And she's going to tell you all about it. Please welcome Lissa Maris. You are like literally, I mean, seriously, is there a raw food chef that's more creative than you? If so, tell me who they are, because I can't believe it. I don't know how you figured out this. I
Thank
mean, it's like not, it didn't exist until you created it. That's what's so cool about it, you know?
Mm. Yeah, I just really enjoy playing with ingredients and pushing the limits and seeing what I can do with stuff. And there are, there's other wraps out there and stuff, but I made these ones, like just the technique that I use is a little different and some of the ingredients are different. And I tested like 60 different recipes before I decided on the 34 that go in the hand salads wrap. So they're really special to my heart, and I'm so happy to see so many people enjoying the wraps to the max. I just love seeing them tagging me in their Instagram posts and stuff like that. It's super awesome.
Well,
So
you know,
yeah.
the people all throughout the week were featuring mostly bundle contributors on Chef AJ Live. And what they were saying they really liked about your book is that it's foolproof because you put everything in ounces and grams, that if somebody just followed the recipe, they would have a foolproof wrap.
Yes, exactly. And I want to talk about that too, because when I was making the recipes originally, I was getting, and I still do get, these massive onions. They're huge onions. This is an organic one from Whole Foods. And these are the sweet onions that I was getting from Costco. And the comparison, like, is so different. So one day, because Nate would go and get me the ingredients and then I'd be home testing the recipes, and I was using these onions. And then one day he came home with these onions and he's like, they didn't have any of the other big ones. And I was like, oh, well, then I'm like, I wonder how many I need, right? So that's when I started weighing them out because I wanted to make sure that I was getting the proper amount, because a large onion to me might not be a large onion to you. So it's super important to use a food scale and make sure that you weigh all the ingredients so that you get the exact same, result that I do.
That is really very important to point out. And that's I don't want to say the problem, but that is pretty common in almost every recipe book. When, like that's when somebody says a banana, you can have a banana this big or this big. And that's why I struggled getting my cookbook out, because I tend to like weight too, because weight I feel is accurate for everyone, whether it's grams or ounces, whereas cups, having been a culinary instructor at the Braille Institute, people measure differently. Some people really smush those herbs in, and some people top it off. So it's really a wonderful thing, and it's so fun seeing you make them and enjoy them. And I just love them. I just wish I didn't have to make them, even though I know how and they're not that hard. It's like you got to keep doing it. It doesn't replicate on its own.
I know, right? Oh man, do I ever wish that they did. I know for us as well. Sorry about the shaking. My cat was standing on the thing, like rubbing on it and loving it. But I know exactly how you feel. And there's some nights, like it really only takes maybe max 15 minutes for us to blend two whole wraps, which could last us like 2 to 3 or 4 days worth of meals. But it's doing it. I totally know. Like sometimes Nate and I will be like, we want wraps tomorrow, but we're like on the couch chilling. It's like late, and we're like, oh, I don't really want to make it. But we think about our future self, and I think Like, well, tomorrow, Lissa will be very happy that I took the time to do this. So I try to like, I'm like, okay, I just get up. And by the time you get into the kitchen, you start chopping, you're like, okay, it's not that bad. But I know getting off the couch and doing it sometimes is like, but so such is food prep, right?
I do find though doing it after dinner is the best time because then they're basically ready the next day.
Exactly. And that is one of the things that I really encourage people to do is to just do them at like 5, 6, or 7 o'clock at night. Like while you're making dinner, you could make the wraps as well. And then just get them in the dehydrator and let them sit overnight. And you've got wraps the next day. And then usually it only takes, I mean, depending if you chop the insides or whatever fillings you're making, then, it can be anywhere from like 4 to like 8 minutes to roll them up and wrap them. So.
Yeah, wrap and roll. Here, a couple of questions for you. So we're going to start with Annie's question. Dairy-free acidophilus probiotic capsules. What brand do you use? Do you use one? I don't use those, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I make, and in the wrap recipe book, there's quite a few recipes for fermented probiotic cashew cream cheese, which is what I have here, which we're gonna spread on the wrap. So when I make those, I use Country Life. They have a dairy-free acidophilus, but honestly, any dairy-free probiotic that has acidophilus in it will work. And I've used different ones before, and they work just fine. So the acidophilus capsule with miso, I like to add like a teaspoon of miso into the cheese. That makes it like super extra fluffy. So yeah, I mean, you can click on the link in the hand salads wrap ebook. I have links to all the stuff like the spatula, the trays, the probiotic, like everything's in there. So all people have to do is buy the bundle. The link is in the show notes, and get the hand salads ebook where you can get the links to all the stuff that we use.
Very cool. And another question. The recipes in the book look so delicious, but for losing weight, are they too calorically dense when you need to lose weight?
That's a great question too. And I do address this in the FAQ section because I've had this question quite a few times. One wrap, and we're talking like, okay, so this is the one that we're going to wrap today. This one I made already. This wrap this entire thing is about 450 to 500 calories, but you don't always have to eat the entire thing. Once it's filled with stuff, maybe the entire wrap is maybe like 700 calories max, but it's a lot. The entire wrap is like, it's filling. I rarely have an entire wrap because they're so filling. But so like half a wrap's probably about 350 calories, depending on what you put inside, obviously. But it's not that much, and we have to eat enough anyways. So you could have like half a wrap with a salad or something like that, get it there. But I personally eat around 2,400 calories a day, and the wraps really do help with that. So, I mean, they're also low fat as well. One entire wrap only has 1 tablespoon of either chia or flax. And some of the wraps have a little tahini, but it's just 1 tablespoon per wrap. So if you're only having half, you're only getting like half a tablespoon. So it's not really that high in fat anyways. It's mostly just fruits and veggies.
Well, not only is it not high in fat, it's actually very low in fat. And also it depends what you fill it with that's going to make the difference. I mean, if you fill it with, nut butter, it's going to be much different than if you do what Lissa does, where she's literally filling it with raw vegetables that are 100 calories per pound. So even if she ate the whole thing, I mean, 600 calories for a whole meal, and those things are so filling. So when I make them, I eat the whole thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And you're putting like, your hand
I'm
in
putting sweet potatoes in them,
yeah.
yeah, in addition to the salad stuff, of course.
That's so awesome. So yeah, like it really depends on what you put inside. If you're using like a lot of cashew cheese, or if you don't use cashew cheese, if you just use the honey yams, or for raw foodies, like you can skip the sauce. I know a lot of people just skip the sauce or whatever. Like you don't have to. And then also it depends on how much sauce you use. If you make it and use a sauce as well, which I like to do. But again, I think it's totally fine because it's usually what you eat throughout the rest of the day as well, right? Like if you're having the nice wrap and you're eating a bunch of other stuff, that might be questionable, then it depends. It really depends on what else you're eating during the day and what you fill it with. So I think they're totally fine.
Nice. So show us how to wrap, baby.
All right, so what I did is I have, you gotta get the bundle to get the full recipe, but I've got the, some of the ingredients in here already. And I've got all of the ingredients that I'm going to be putting in the wrap. Now, this recipe makes 2 wraps, 14 by 14 size, and I've weighed everything out already, so we don't have to worry about that. And this is the Everything But The Bagel recipe in the hand salads wrap ebook. And I have this one memorized. This is the one that I make all the time, so it's really easy for me. Now, the only difference between Everything But The Bagel wrap and the Galaxy Blue Rainbow wraps is Terrasol Blue Spirulina. So I've had many people ask if there's a flavor to this one because they don't like the green spirulina because it's really fishy. This one has a very neutral flavor. I don't notice it in the blue wraps. So I think that's really awesome. So I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of blue spirulina to the wrap. I really have to get another one of these because I think I'm almost out.
Lissa, what does it taste like? Because somebody had asked me to make them a cheesecake for a special order because they needed it for a gender reveal. And I didn't want to get it because I never used it and I didn't know if it would change the taste of the recipe.
Honestly, I haven't actually noticed any flavor. It doesn't taste like anything to me.
So no flavor at all. Wow. No, and no grittiness that's so interesting.
I know, and especially the Terrasol one, this one here, I really like this brand. It's like a fine powder. So it's like this stuff is so cool. Look at that blue.
It is a very beautiful color. Tim Kaufman from Fat Man Rants, who's watching live. Hey, Tim, he was on a couple of shows ago, and he said because of your cookbook, he bought a dehydrator and he's making your soup today.
Very cool. I love that. I love hearing that. And yeah, the dehydrator is such a fun tool. I love the dehydrator. So I'm gonna be putting the onions and all the other ingredients in here. So there's like onion, date, apple, sweet potato. And again, you need the weights. It's super important to weigh out your ingredients. And if you don't have enough space, like, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough space to fill all this, you can blend it down a little bit and then you can fit the rest in, which is what we'll do here. Because I still have some more ingredients. So I'm just gonna blend it down really quick. Because when you blend it down just a little bit, it makes a lot of space. So you can finish filling it with the rest of the ingredients. Just like this. And one of
Oh, sorry. Elle says, so happy I got the bundle. I wish I could calm down my head for long enough to get a really good grasp on it. Well, you got a whole year.
Yeah, you have a whole year. I really recommend people, as soon as they get the email to download everything, download it all right away. You don't have to worry about opening everything and reading it all and stuff. Just download it all because you have 1 year to download it. And once you download it, you have it forever. So you don't have to worry about it. But I recommend you just download everything and then you can slowly go through some of the things in the bundle. So one big, huge, important thing that I want to share, if you're making the wraps, please do not put the psyllium and the chia or flax in with these ingredients because you want to blend these first and then add this after. If you put these in with everything else and you blend it for like 20, 30 seconds or whatever, the psyllium is going to suck up so much water that it can create a dry lake bed while it's drying, and there'll be like cracks throughout your wrap or what have you. And this happens because people blend the psyllium and chia too long. You can only blend it for about 3 seconds, 3-ish seconds, and then you're good to go. Like, you don't have to mix it super perfect in the blender. And I'll show you how to do that. So I've got all the ingredients in here with the blue and the water and everything. And we will blend this up into kind of like a smoothie. All right, so once that's blended up into a smoothie-like consistency, Then we add the psyllium and the chia. And when I pulse it in, what I like to do is I'll pulse it for like a second and a half, and then I stop the blender because it creates this like bubble, and then I blend it again and it brings the rest of it down, just in case it's like having a hard time blending everything in. So I do for like a second or so, like that, and then I stop it and it makes a bubble, then I blend it again. And that's all you need to do. Like, you do not need to blend the psyllium and the chia in long. Otherwise you get those kind of like cracks while it's dehydrating. But there we go. Super easy, right?
Super easy once you have the recipe.
Yes.
So you guys may not know this, but Lissa really makes the bundle. In other words, the contributors all bring their product to her, but she makes everything beautiful and curates it and collates it and makes all the bells and whistles and buttons work. And there'd be, just so you know, we call her the bundle babe because there'd be no bundle without Lissa. So if you want to thank her for really making this happen, get the bundle from her. Her link is what I've been putting in the chat and the show notes. And thank you, Jolene. She said she bought the bundle this morning and now she's working on downloading one item at a time. And that's the best way to do it, because even if we had a download all button, we don't recommend doing that because it does skip things. And because there's over 150, people have been telling us it's been taking them between 20 minutes to 2 hours to do it. And if you need help, we not only have customer service, but we have 2 wonderful videos that will teach you how to download the bundle, a very short one that Lissa made and a much longer one that Kathy Hester and Cheryl made. So please always feel free to ask us for help if you need it. I got the bundle and transferred on a thumb drive. That's the best way to do it too, because, you know, sometimes computers just disappear, and a thumb drive, you could take it anywhere. Is the dehydrator loud? Well, Catherine, it depends what room you put it in. So mine's in the laundry room, so no, but I would say it is not loud, and it sure makes everything smell good, at least my Excalibur, but I'll let Lissa answer.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's probably along the lines of an AC unit, but it's not even as loud as an AC unit, actually. It's just a fan that's going. It's not that loud. We have ours in the living room and we have one here. So this one here, this one's pink because I bought it when they had the pink ones like 8 years ago. They unfortunately don't have the pink ones. They had blue ones like this too, which were super cool. But we have the other one in the living room. And we have 2 because when Nate and I got together, he had a dehydrator as well. So now we have 2. We actually have 3, but one's in storage. So
I had no idea they ever came in blue or pink.
yeah, we know when I bought this, it was about 8 years ago. It was like 2016 was when I bought this one, and they had like an orange one, a yellow one, a blue one, a pink one, and a red one. They had like different colors. It could have been like an anniversary sale. I have no idea because I had 3 of those stacking dehydrators over the first year that I was raw, and each one of them the fan broke, or and I didn't like the stacking fact of it about it, because you couldn't put big stuff in there. It had a hole in the center. Like, they were just not, they were cheap, and I would keep getting them so that I could dry little things. But after the 3rd one broke, I was like, I'm just gonna buy an Excalibur because I think it's gonna be great. And it just so happened that they had pink ones when I ordered it, so that was pretty cool. And some people ask, like, how much does it cost? And I did a little research on that. It's about 6 cents an hour, depending on how much you pay for electricity. So it's really not that much.
Yeah, they are not, they don't use a lot of energy, and they don't heat up the house the way other things do, you know?
Right, yeah. But they sure smell up the house really nice with the onions when it's drying.
Really, really nice. Yeah. So I take it your favorite color's pink, you know?
Yes, pink and purple are my favorite colors. Those are
Purple's mine. So yeah, pink's good too.
yes, pink and purple. I would say I was more purple when I was a kid, and now I'm like more on the pink side, but I like them both equally. They're so great.
Yeah. Well, like me, you are involved in at least 3 other bundles a year. What's so unique and different about this vegan health bundle, especially this year's?
This year's bundle is massive. This is probably the biggest bundle that I've been in. Like there's 150 downloads. Seriously amazing. Like that's a lot of downloads. Usually bundles are anywhere between like 40 to maybe 85 downloads. So this bundle is massive. And the vegan health bundle is really cool because every single year there's different stuff in it. So if you bought the vegan health and weight loss bundle last year, this year is totally different. There's all new stuff. And another really cool thing about this year's bundle is that we all got together, and the people who were able to contributed recipes to the group spring collaboration ebook, which is only available in this bundle. You will not be able to buy it after the bundle's over tomorrow. So you have to get the bundle now. There's less than 36 hours left to get it. Link is in the show notes, but you gotta get it, gotta check it out. And I really encourage people, even if they're kind of like, whatever, I recommend that they go to the website and just scroll through and see all the stuff that you get. And I had one person ask, like, do we have to download everything? And I'm like, you don't have to. I mean, you get everything, but you don't have to download everything. If there's only like 4 or 5 things that you want from it, it's still a good deal. Because Nate and I, for example, contributed our live lunch that retails for $330. And even with our 40% off code, you'll never get it for $49, but it's in this bundle. So you get full access to all the videos. You get the wrap book, you get the taco book. We have 2 months free access to the online meal planning app, so you can try that out if you want. And then the classes that we did together, Chef AJ, the Make It Raw, Make It Cooked, and the ebook I wrote with you for the raw bundle last year is in this one as well, Make It Raw Volume 2, which has some really cool recipes in it. Nate's got his Ninja ice cream book, where he was on your show yesterday, and his kitchen essentials video course is in there too. So between just Nate and I, we've contributed almost $700 worth of stuff to this bundle. So
Wow.
I really recommend people go check it out.
No brainer. And you brought up the Ninja Creamy, and the person that asked about how loud is the Excalibur? It's nowhere any near as loud as a Ninja Creamy. I can tell you, I can promise you that.
Yeah, or a Vitamix either. Like,
Yeah,
that's not even like close.
or a leaf blower. So Annie is saying, Lissa, can I substitute cannellini beans for cashews in your recipe? Maybe it matters what the recipe is, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I agree totally. It really depends on what the recipe is. Now, because I'm raw, I don't do those beans, but you can definitely try and see how it is. I don't think the beans would work for the cashew cheese because I don't know about fermenting them. But for any of the creamy sauces, I'm sure you could probably try and see how it goes.
I think maybe it would lend itself more to a savory type thing than like a sweet dessert type thing that you might be using cashews for.
For sure. And I really also, on a side note, really highly encourage people to get an offset spatula while doing this, and to take your time when you're spreading the wraps out, because you want to get it as even as possible so that you get the best drying action going on here. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but this is actually my favorite part of making the wraps, is spreading it.
That's so cool. All right, you guys have any more questions about anything raw food? It really helped me to watch Chef AJ's YouTube video that she shows everything that's in the bundle. Thanks, Jolene. We actually recommend that all 151 contributors, if they do any kind of presentations, do that, because we all have different people that are in our community, and it does help people see what's inside. Tammy Kramer does it like for 3 hours. I mean, she really goes into every nook and cranny, and does the bundle reveal really better than anybody. This is a raw vegan marvel. That's a good way to put it.
Aw. Yeah, there's lots of raw stuff in this bundle as well. So it's really good. And I've had some people ask, because we do have a raw vegan bundle that comes out once a year, and that's coming later. People are like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for the raw bundle. But none of the raw stuff that's in this bundle, and there's a lot of raw stuff in this bundle, none of the stuff in this bundle will be in the raw bundle. So if you like all the raw stuff, there's actually quite a bit of raw stuff in this bundle. It will not be in that one. So you got to get this bundle if you want to get it. The raw one will have totally different stuff in it. Now, for those wondering what I'm doing here, I've just put the sprinkles on this one. I'll talk about the sprinkles in a sec. I'm just gonna put it in the dehydrator. There we go, tray number one. So you don't have to put sprinkles on. I like it because it's got more of like a bread or bun kind of likeness to it. But I just basically, I have this old container and I mix sunflower seed, or sorry, sesame seeds, both black and white sesame seeds, poppy seeds, dried onion flakes, red pepper flakes, and dried chives. So it's a salt-free, kind of like an enhanced Everything But The Bagel shaker that you can put on top here. Because I don't want all that extra salt. So I just make my own without the salt. And that's what I'm sprinkling here on this wrap. Just like so.
Ooh.
All right. And that's it. That's all you do. So once it's done, you just put them in your dehydrator and you turn it on at 115 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 10 to 16 hours. It really depends on where you live, how many trays are in the dehydrator. Like if you have like all 8 trays going, it's going to take a lot longer to dry. It might take like 18 or 20 hours because there's so much moisture in the dehydrator. So you want to use 2, maybe 4 trays. Like we'll do 2 batches and they're done in about 14 hours. So if we do them at 5 o'clock at night, they're usually ready by 7 a.m. the next day. So, and this is what they look like.
I've never done more than 4 at a time.
Yeah, and you don't need to do more than 4 at a time. Like you don't need to make like 20 wraps because, you know, like you want to use them in a timely manner. I leave them on the silicone trays personally. I know people do other things like they'll peel them off and put them in, you know, like Ziploc bags that are unsealed or between parchment. That works too. But I just like to keep them on the silicone trays until I'm ready to use them. And I just leave them on the counter, like right here. I just leave them there. And then when I'm ready, I peel it off as long as they're dry. So that's a really big thing that you want to look for too. And in the hand salads ebook, I have a full-length video showing how to know when they're dry. Like when you push in the center, if you have any like dimpling that's happening, they're not ready yet. Just leave them in the dehydrator until you no longer have that dimpling that happens in the center. Then you know they're dry. If you take them out when they're still dimpling, then if you leave them on the counter, they can risk mold because there's still moisture in there. So you want to make sure that they're fully dry when you use them. So yes, yes.
So you wrap the part that's on the tray is the inside that where you're wrapping, right?
Yes. So I'm going to peel this one off really quick here. So this is the outside of the wrap, and this is the inside of the wrap. So when I wrap it, which we're going to do next, that's how I do it. So I have the outside, so it's all like, you know, cool with the sprinkles, and the inside is a little bit tacky, right? You don't want it to be fully dry. Like that's one of the reasons why these wraps work so well is because I don't flip them. I let them dry fully because most wraps that I've made over the years that I kind of gave up on raw wraps was because it says to flip it halfway through. And when I flip it halfway through, it would get all crumply and really weird and like crusty on the edges. So, you know, I have the whole story in the video if you get the ebook to learn about that. But this side is a little bit tacky. So it's nice to have as the base for all the other ingredients. And then this side's all nice for the outside. So that's going to be really fun. So let's start.
You ever made a pink wrap?
I have. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of the pink wraps that I made that was super cool was I made the Everything But The Bagel wrap the same way that I made this one. But instead of using the white fleshed sweet potato, I used a purple sweet potato. And then instead of the blue spirulina, I put a teaspoon of the pitaya powder in it. And it was like a super vibrant, kind of a purplish pink. It was awesome. That one was really fun to make too. So like you could play around with like superfood powders and you can make some really cool wrap colors. Or in the wrap book, there's also a wrap, it's the V8 wrap, and one of the bases is beets. And that wrap is like really, really bright, kind of like a maroon color to it. So it's really fun. You can have like different colors, get those colors, like eat the rainbow, right?
Yummy. You make them so pretty though. Like mine taste good, but they don't look like yours when I roll them. They kind of just, yeah.
Oh, that's okay. All we know is as long as it tastes good, right? All
Right. But I
right.
would love to make them as pretty as you. How did you get so much rolling experience?
Oh my gosh. Like after testing 60 recipes and I've made, if I had to guess, I've made over 500 wraps since the wrap book came out in May of last year. So I've made a lot and I like to make it for people too. And when we come to visit Chef AJ, I will show you all of my secret tips.
Gosh, we'll be going live a lot, I'm sure.
Okay, so to make it the rainbow, I've spread the cashew cheese on the bottom, and you don't have to use cashew cheese if you don't want to. But it does act as kind of like a barrier against some of the moisture. So we like to do that if we're traveling with them, because once this is filled, it can last like 1 to 3 days in the fridge. So you can prep these in advance and have like 3 days worth of lunches, and you don't have to worry about lunch. As long as you're not using really wet ingredients, and we're not using wet ingredients because I'm gonna eat these tomorrow. I'm actually gonna be making dinner tonight, a big cruciferous diversity salad. So I'm not gonna eat these tonight, but I'm gonna eat them tomorrow because tomorrow's the last day of the bundle. So I've got, just like you, Chef AJ, I've got a full schedule of lives and I won't have time to make my lunch. So this is actually going to be my lunch for tomorrow. So I'm
Yummy.
gonna start with some purple cabbage. I'm gonna put that on the bottom base here. Now, the only ingredient that I put to the edges is the lettuce. Everything else kind of stays in this like bottom center kind of square. So I'll put a little bit of purple cabbage, and then all of these greens I harvested off our lettuce grow garden that we have growing in the office. I'm just gonna put those on here.
How do the wraps freeze? Asks Colleen.
I froze one of them and it cracked on me, so I don't recommend freezing them. They're a dried food, so you don't have to freeze them. I recommend just making them and just leaving them on the counter so that they stay nice. So, again, I've only froze one of them, and because it cracked on me, I kind of like, not really a fan of the freezing thing, because it does also change the texture of fresh fruits and vegetables. It's definitely not the same as grain wraps for sure. All right. So we've got all the lettuce down. Next up is the massaged kale. So I massaged this kale with just a smidge, like 1/8 of a teaspoon of miso, just to get it to soften slightly. So we'll probably put about that much because we've got a lot of ingredients to put in here. So we've got our kale, and then we've got some shredded Brussels sprouts. Put those on there. Green cabbage, that'll be next. And then we've got all the rest of the rainbow ingredients here. We've got yellow bell pepper, carrot, red bell pepper, pink, check out this pink daikon radish. I got these for the kimchi recipe that I made on my Instagram, and I've got red onion and more regular radish. So I'm just gonna kind of like, I don't think I'll use all of these ingredients because there's quite a bit. And we don't want to overstuff the wrap. I had somebody ask earlier today how much you can fill the wrap with. And as you can see, it's pretty full already. And you can really put a lot of stuff in these wraps. But there is a point where, you can fit too much in. So you'll know. I'll show you when I start folding it in.
Yeah, like if it breaks. I wonder if you would ever mass produce these. Could you mass produce these, sell them?
Nate and I have talked about it, and it would be a really big investment for us because, you know, you can only make so many wraps in so much time in the dehydrators. We'd have to invest in big commercial dehydrators, which would be tens of thousands of dollars. And then we would have to invest somehow to ship these without them going moldy, because moisture is kind of not a friendly thing for the wraps. So we would have to figure out a way to do that. And, you know, we're just kind of like, I don't know if that's a route that we want to take, because we'd rather, honestly, we'd rather empower the viewer to make these themselves so that you know, they learn how to do it themselves and they can make them themselves. But who knows? I mean, maybe one day we do end up making them for sale, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'd buy them.
I know you would. Totally. I know a lot of people would too. Okay, so we got that. I'm gonna end with just a little bit more purple cabbage just to finish off the rainbow. There we go. Okay. All right, the rest of the ingredients I'm just gonna use for the other wrap because I've got that other one that I'll wrap after our show. All right, so this is the trick to fold it. What I like to do is I like to put all three of the bottom corners into the center. So 1, 2, and 3. So it looks like an envelope. You've got all three in the center. You can tuck the corners if you want. I'll just tuck these ones in. It's totally optional. Then you can be decently rough with these wraps because they're very strong, but they're also, you know, they're sensitive. So you want to be firm, but gentle. And you can just like squeeze it. I like to squeeze the wrap and roll the wrap in like this. And there we go. Woo! Check that. There's the wrap, fully loaded deliciousness. And people say, does it stick? It does stick for the most part. If you have some cashew cheese on there or some sauce, it'll stick decently. But let's cut this in half and have the big reveal. Big reveal. All right, I'm gonna come around to the front to show you. Here we go. Maybe here we are. Ooh, check out that rainbow wrap.
It's like perfect. You know, I don't even cut mine because they don't look pretty, but they are delicious, I'll tell you. How many times have you been going live every day since the bundle? Like 10?
Oh, 4 to 5 to 6, depending. And you know, they're like an hour each time, so they're a lot. They're a lot. Oh, I wanted to show you. So I'm just gonna put these wraps to the side here. Aren't they cool? Oh my gosh, super cool. Actually, really quickly, I have these deli papers. I want to show how I fold this. So because I'm going to eat these tomorrow, and I didn't put any really wet ingredients in here, and I'll use a sauce for those asking. I get so many people who are like, that's too dry. I'm like, well, for one, the vegetables are hydrating, and for two, you could put a sauce on. So like, we'll get a squeeze bottle and we'll just drizzle sauce on the top and eat it like that. So you can totally add a sauce at mealtime. That just helps prevent soggy wraps. So there we go. There's one wrap ready to go. And here's the other wrap ready to go. And now I have lunch for Sunday and Monday. I'll have one of these tomorrow and I'll have the other one on Monday. And they'll be just perfect. So that's that, all done. It's so cool. I'm like, I've got lunch for the next 2 days. I don't have to worry about it.
You know, that's the fun thing about doing all these lives is we get to make our own food. So
Exactly.
that's good.
But I wanted to show you this, Chef AJ. I made your Goodman peanut chews. I made them raw.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so what I did, let me just take this form off. What I did was for the topping, I just mixed dates, coconut milk, vanilla, and cacao. And I just mixed it into a really thick, um, like a thick topping. And I used the jungle peanuts. So I made them raw.
Can I make raw? I mean, that I make cooked, you can make raw. That's why we teach these classes, guys, called Make It Raw, Make It Cooked. It was a $197 class that you get the whole thing for free in the bundle. It's over 6.5 hours with 2 ebooks of Lissa and I doing entire menus of different cuisines like Mexican and Italian. And then I do the raw cooked version. She does the raw version. Very, very cool. Wow, that is so cool. Apple's estimating she has made at least 100 wraps by now. Nice. And 200 actually. And Cindy says, where do you harvest your greens from?
So we have a lettuce grow garden in our office. So it's kind of like, I don't want to call it a tower garden because there's another company that has that name. It's got a has your throat been dry, Chef AJ?
Has my what been dried?
Your throat from talking so much.
Oh my gosh. Well, mostly my eyes are dry from looking at the light this many hours. Using lots of
I've had to drink so much water because it's so dry here in Vegas that I'm like, but anyways, so we have a lettuce grow and it's basically a garden tower that we have in our office and it automatically waters every hour for like 15 minutes or something like that. And we have all different kinds of lettuces growing on it. We've got kale and chard and radicchio and speckled lettuce and butter lettuce and red leaf lettuce and dill and all kinds of stuff. We've got all kinds of stuff growing on there. And we get the starts from Lettuce Grow and we just put them in there and just let them go. And we've been harvesting off that thing. Again, we don't harvest every day. And usually we harvest just for the wraps because we don't want to use like, you know, a whole head of lettuce or what have you. So we'll just clip a whole bunch of different leaves. And we've been harvesting off of that since like Christmas time. So we do need to change out some of them because a lot of them have bolted. So we do need to change them, but it's been really cool to have like bonus screens in the office along with our microgreens and stuff like that. So yeah, let us grow. Mm.
Thank you. Let's see. Bonnie says, I bought a dehydrator just for Lissa's wraps. Now, if I can just find my scale. Scales are pretty cheap, Bonnie. I've got one at Bed Bath & Beyond for like 14 bucks. Barbara says, thank you both, Chef AJ and Lissa, for putting this wonderful bundle together. I exhausted imagining all the work both you did for us. You're very welcome. And here is a question from, where did it go? I saw it a minute ago. Here you go. Shelly, do you have to have a dehydrator or can these be done in the oven?
Great question. So you do need to have a dehydrator. Now, the reason being is there's a few reasons actually. Most ovens do not go down to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Most ovens low is like 170, which is way too hot. I'll tell a quick story. Nate and I were going on this really big camping trip and we needed to make lots of wraps. So I had 4 wraps going in this dehydrator. And on the top, there's the dial up at the top. And when I put some trays on the top, I didn't realize that it pushed the dial and it moved it. So it was about 145 Fahrenheit in there. And maybe it could have been 152. But when I went to check on them the next morning, I peeled one off and it was like really hard. And once I peeled it, you know, it was really hard to peel it off the tray, but it was also like super crusty. And once it came off the tray, it was like, you couldn't wrap it. And it also smelled a little, not burnt, but like it had that like caramelized-y, burnty. And that was only like at 145 Fahrenheit. So I can, you know, I say like anything in the oven is too hot unless your oven has a dehydrator option that goes to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, then you could probably do it. But it also doesn't have adequate airflow because some people say like, oh, well, you could leave the door open, right? But that's also not safe because you have to leave it on, you know, if you're leaving it overnight, you don't want to leave your oven on with the door open and a fan blowing in there all night. So it's just way more safe and it's more reliable to get a dehydrator. And you can get used dehydrators. I've heard some crazy stories. One lady messaged me and said she found a 9-tray Excalibur for 20 bucks on Craigslist.
Yeah, on
So
Facebook Marketplace, eBay, a lot of people buy them with the best intentions, just like juicers. They use them once or they never use them. So don't give up. Also, it's got to be a square dehydrator because some of the people had that round one. They couldn't make your wraps.
right. And there are smaller dehydrators. You can get smaller trays. Like these are the 14 by 14. They do make 10 by 12. So it's like a little smaller. They're rectangle shaped, so they don't wrap up the same way. But if that's the dehydrator you have, you can get the 10 by 12. And in the hand salads wrap ebook, if you buy the bundle, get the bundle before tomorrow, you can download the hand salads wrap ebook. I've got links to these trays and as well as the smaller 10 by 12 trays that do fit in the smaller dehydrators. If you have the smaller trays, one recipe instead of two big trays, it makes exactly 3 small trays. So if you have the small ones, split the batter across 3 of them and it'll be perfect.
Perfect.
Nice.
Let's you demand. Okay. Something question about from Chantel. Is it hydroponics? I'm not sure what she's
Oh, that's for the tower? Yes, it's hydroponics. It's
nice.
just a kind of like a motor that pushes the water up and then it rains on the inside. And you just put minerals and nutrients in the water and that grows the lettuce. So yeah.
Apple says she has the smaller Excalibur and each makes 3 wraps. She loves it. And Anne is saying, Chef AJ, thank you so much for all your time and effort to showcase all these amazing contributors, yourself included. Lissa, you are the raw vegan queen. I agree. You know, I feel bad that I have to eat and sleep because I was only able to feature 6 a day, which means I could only give you about 60 out of the 150. So hopefully we can find another way to get everybody on, but a lot of the other contributors are doing shows with each other. So hopefully you're following some of them as well. Yeah. Jolene says Breville has an oven dehydrator feature. Never tried it. I haven't either because I use my Breville every day. So I just use my dehydrator for dehydrating, but I'd love to know if it works. I don't want to say concern, but those are very specific trays that she uses. And will they fit in the Breville? The Breville seems to be a little bit more rectangular than square.
Yeah, that's the ultimate question. Will the trays fit? But yeah, I mean, if that's all people have and they want to try and start, I say go for it, give it a try. I have heard mixed reviews. I've heard, some people with the Ninja, they have like a Ninja one that has a dehydrator option or like the air fryer or whatever. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say it takes like 24 hours to dry, and other people say it dried perfectly fine. So you got to try it to see.
All right. Well, Lissa, Bundle Babe, Raw Vegan Queen, I thank you so much for creating such beauty and deliciousness and healthy stuff in the world. It's amazing. And I wish you every success with the bundle. Get it from Liz. I mean, I don't want you to play favorites, but Lissa's the bundle babe, where there'd be no bundle without Lissa. So if you haven't gotten it, come on, you got a little over 24 hours and you may as well get it from Lissa, right? Matthew says, thank you for providing amazing information. Well worth the price of the bundle. Oh, Matthew, you've made recipes already. I'd love to know what you made. And Annie says she plans to try the caramelized onion wrap first. They're all good. And when I say this, I mean, like, it doesn't matter which one you make because there hasn't been a bad one. I tend to make the ones that I already have the ingredients for. And some of them, for example, I think there's like a sweet corn wrap that's basically just like corn and onion. And I always have that. You know what I mean? So like if I didn't have basil or a sun-dried tomato, there's always a few where it's such simple ingredients that a lot of people will probably already have those ingredients without having to go to the store.
Yeah, totally. And that's the cool thing about the hand salads wrap ebook is that I have 34 different flavors. And I also have matching fillings, spreads, and sauces in there as well. So there's a sauce or a spread for every different flavored wrap. There's like the mahini curry wrap. There's like a cauliflower spicy ginger wrap. There's a buffalo ranch wrap, a Philly cheese one, mushroom fajita, a pizza wrap. Yeah, the tuna fish, that's Nate's absolute favorite wrap of the entire book. He always asks me to make that one. He likes the filling and the tartar sauce and the wrap itself. That's his absolute favorite. So yeah, definitely got to try them all.
And also, just so you guys know, I've never used any wrap that Lissa has called for flax seeds. I just never have flax seeds in the house, and I have so many chia seeds. I've just used chia, and they've worked fine with an equal substitution, as long as you've got to have that psyllium husk, though. The psyllium powder. That
Yeah.
is crucial. Or it won't do the all pliable stuff, you know?
And I do recommend using the powder and not the actual husk.
Right, the
Because
powder.
yeah, the powder is more dense and it actually sucks up the water differently than the husk do. I've had people message me and say, "Oh, I just had the husk and it cracked in the center." So powder is essential to use.
Yeah, follow it exactly. All right, Lissa. Well, thank you so much for creating a most beautiful bundle for all of us to showcase our work, and for having beautiful, beautiful. Oh, your taco book's in the bundle too. I mean, my goodness, even if they have the wrap book, they probably don't have your taco book.
Yeah, the tacos are so fun. I didn't have time to make them. I wanted to make them and have a taco night during the bundle, but there was just no time. But the taco book is in there. So you get the hard shell tacos that have the crunch. They're not deep fried, they're oil free, they're low salt, but they're crunchy and they're raw. So you can have tostadas or taco shells with, and there's recipes in there for like different types of salsa, some different guacamoles. There's the cashew sour cream and the nacho cheese sauce. There's like a cilantro jalapeno crema kind of thing. Like there's all different kinds of recipes so that you can have an awesome taco night.
And I made your carrot chorizo.
Yes, the carrot. Yeah, it's so good. It's a low fat carrot. I call it low fat carrot crumbles. And
Yeah,
those
and
are
I'm not raw, so I just used it in my cooked food, you know?
exactly. And that's the beauty of, enjoying raw is that you don't have to be a raw foodie. Like you can just enjoy raw food and you don't have to be raw. It's just fun, extra, and it gets you more variety into our bodies, right? So it's all good.
Raw, enjoy raw food. You don't have to be vegan to enjoy vegan food. And
Exactly.
but you do have to get the bundle before 11:59 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, because 1 minute later, we are not going to be giving it to you. We promise that.
Turning off the website. So get it
You're
before
gonna
it's
stay, you're staying up until midnight to make sure that happens, right?
that I am. Yep, yep. I'll be staying up and yeah, it'll be turned off at midnight. So if you want to get it, please go grab it now before it's too late.
Celeste says, I bought the bundle from both of you and gifted it to a friend. Thank you. It's a great gift, by the way. Is there a vegan group in LA? So I've been out of LA for 5 years, and I would imagine there is. So what I would do is go to meetup.com. It's free. You can put in what city, what your interests are. That's what I would do. I don't know of one offhand. As I mentioned, I've been gone for 5 years. And Salah is also saying, I don't know much about psyllium. Which one do I buy? I just buy the generic brand, like it's Sprouts. I don't even buy a fancy expensive one. I just go to Sprouts and they have like a Sprouts brand. And she says, as long as it's powder, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. And if people want like a fancy brand, we like Now Foods because they test for heavy metals in their products. So, side bonus. But yeah, you can just get it from the bulk bin if you want as well. So it's good food for your microbiome, by the way.
I think you're coming back in April as part of your regular series, Feeling Great with Lissa and Nate. I believe that's Tuesday, April 9th. That's my wedding anniversary. And I think you're making a special raw vegan lasagna that's actually in this bundle.
Yes, the lasagna is in the group collaboration ebook. So if you want to make a raw lasagna, that's Nate's recipe, and he contributed to the group book, and he will be happy to share about the lasagna. It's one of his favorite dishes. So, and he will be here for that show because he's coming back because guess what, Chef AJ? On April 2nd, I am going to be naturalized to be a United States citizen.
Yay, it's about time, because I've been wanting you to go to Rancho La Puerta, and you can't go to Mexico without a passport.
No, so I'm so excited. I should be able to get my passport within a month after I get naturalized. So I should have it for the summer. We want to go to Canada for my cousin's wedding. I want to visit my parents. Like it's gonna be really fun. So yeah, we'll definitely have to
Like a test and like
together.
do you have to study and know who the first president of the United States is?
Not the first president, but I do need to know who the House Speaker is right now, which I do. It's Mike Johnson. I've been studying.
I didn't even know that, and I'm a citizen, so good for you.
He was just elected in like maybe over Christmas-ish time, I think. But yeah, I have to know my state senators, some other people. I can't remember now, but there's also other things like which states border Canada, what are the two longest rivers, how many House of Representative people, how many senators.
I mean, okay, why to know the longest river? That is not, I mean, it doesn't make you a good citizen to know geography, but I'd love to hear all about your tests. So, yes,
Yeah.
the bundle ends tomorrow night, not at midnight, Chantel, at 1 minute before midnight, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. And Lissa is from Canada, and Bonnie is saying Bonnie got the psyllium husk at Walmart. So it is a pretty common item now. Even, drugstores have it, and, places
We
like
can order it on Amazon.
I've even seen it at the grocery store. So, all right. Thank you so much, Raw Food Vegan Queen, Bundle Babe, and my friend Lissa Maris.
I love you.
I love all of you guys, even if you don't buy the bundle, just for watching the show. But just click on the link, even if you don't get it, just to show that we're not, somebody put on this website, it's a vegan scam. A vegan scam. Like, it was hilarious to me. How is it a scam? We're giving people like 151 products, but just click on it, see if anything resonates with you, and come back tomorrow for some more bundle shows. We'll have 4 of them. The first one starting at 10:30 a.m. with Donna Spencer cooking Italian fare, but we'll have our regular Chef AJ live tomorrow at 8:30. It's a very interesting show with Dr. Peter Rogers. He's going to be discussing, can you really not get enough protein or not get enough fat on your diet? So how much protein and how much fat do you really need? And what I love about Lissa's wraps is they're not a lot of fat. They're
Not a lot of that. Nope.
Yep, a low fat raw vegan. All right, everyone, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.